Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Podcast, presented by the Daily Pal.
This is Pranuti,
Amit,
and Purva.
and we're from the dailypow.com, a Bombay-specific food and culture website, and this is our weekly podcast, The Podcast. Now, on this episode, we have with us Gitika Saikia, and Gitika runs an Assamese meal service called Gitika's Pakghor. She's been doing this for a little over 2 years, and she's going to be talking to us about her cooking, as well as this pop-up meal that she's doing at the Bombay Canteen on the occasion of Bihu, which is the Assamese Harvest Festival. This is an installment of Bombay Binge in which we talk about food in the city. So stay tuned for Bombay Binge.
Bombay Binge.
So on this episode, we have with us Gitika Saikia, and we're going to be talking to her about her Assamese meal service, Gitika's Pakghor, as well as this pop-up meal she's going to be doing at the Bombay Canteen for Bihu.
And the meal is going to run for the next 2 weeks.
Yes,
Because it's
up
on right
to
now, right?
16th April.
So 16th
April.
April. So that'll give you a whole week to try out the food at Bombay Canteen. Gitika, tell us a little bit, briefly about the meal at the Bombay Canteen itself.
The meal at the Bombay Canteen is sumptuous, I should first say. It's really a good one because Thomas and myself, we both have kind of tried, almost 25 recipes, and then Thomas boiled down to 10 to 12 because he's the best person to know or to suggest what flavors merge or blend with other.
Right.
So yeah, there are 12 dishes on the offer, and we are starting off with Bihu Pitha because if you go to anyone's house during Bihu, the first thing that you will be offered is an array of pithas, and then you will be given a lunch or a dinner.
This is a sweet thing, right?
This is a sweet thing. There's a rice crepes or rice snacks fried and all.
Okay, and you said that these 10 to 12 dishes are all going to be served in a thali.
Yes,
So-
but it comes in 2 courses.
Right. So essentially, the meals at the Bombay Canteen are going to be thalis, and it's going to have. Can you give us maybe an example of what non-veg or some of the veg you'll be
Tell
serving?
us about the potato and flour thing you were talking about.
Oh yes.
It sounded very interesting.
Yeah, right. So the thali is primarily vegetarian for 2 people, and there are 2 non-veg dishes, which is pork and a fish curry that can be ordered a la carte.
Okay.
As per your preference.
If you need it, yeah.
And most of the vegetables here are flown down or logistically nightmarish we had is from Assam. For example, the Assamese baby potatoes, we are making it with bitter flowers.
Okay.
Now the bitter flowers, if you ask me, I don't know the English name, but it
Right.
has a scientific name.
Okay.
It's a tradition that during Bihu we have to eat one bitter dish. Now Karela is very common, so we said, and it's a tribal dish, and so we are staying away from Karela and making these small baby potatoes with these bitter flowers. It's like a nice dry sabji and happens to be Thomas's favorite too.
Okay.
Thomas being Thomas Zacharias.
Thomas Zacharias.
The executive chef of the Bombay Canteen.
Who's been on our podcast a couple of times before.
Yes, and you said that this is again like the grandest harvest in Assam, and
Yes.
this meal is to mark that. But your previous meals in the city. Now you have been catering as Gitika's Pakghor for 3 years now,
Close to
3 years, and a lot of the meals sort of center around like say festivals or harvests. Would you say that the kind of food then that you're serving us is very different from what a regular meal, a daily regular meal in Assam would be? Is there like a big difference in what you've maybe exposed us to and a regular meal there?
This meal, though as you are aware that Assam has got like 2 different cuisine, that's how I categorize the cuisine of Assam, which is our mainland Assam and the tribal Assam.
Right.
The mainland Assam has got some resemblance or draws influence from the rest of the neighboring states. So a few dishes here are from mainland as our mainland Assamese, whereas a few dishes are the tribal Assamese. For example, we are having the fish dish, the fish with rich gourd. The fish with rich gourd is a mainland Assamese dish, whereas the pork that we are cooking with jackfruit is a tribal dish because pork is mostly common amongst the tribal population. And then going to your mash, we have a mash is made of brinjal and black sesame. So if you go to the mainland Assamese cuisine, there will be a normal brinjal mash, which is a bangena pitika. But here the tribes eat a lot of black sesame. We
Okay.
are throwing in black sesame, and it gives a very nutty flavor. So I would say the combination is both tribal Assamese and mainstream Assamese.
Okay. And which fish is generally cooked?
We generally use katla or rohu.
Okay.
But here we are, we have to, debone and things so that it makes convenient for people to eat it.
Okay. So you debone it.
So here we are using bhetki.
Oh, okay. Here you're using it
So now,
instead.
you were saying that all your ingredients come from Assam.
Yes.
And they come from your farm in Assam.
Yes.
So can you tell us about this amazing farm of yours and what all grows there?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So this farm is mainly from my in-laws' place. It's my in-laws' farms, and my in-laws have been pretty though they are my father-in-law is almost 80 years, and then my mother-in-law is 69 or so. They've been very good to send me all the ingredients. So the baby potatoes will be from there, then the bitter flowers, which I was saying, then the sticky rice, and
So even the
Black
rice is
sesame.
grown on the farm?
yes.
And the black sesame?
Yes.
So how big is this farm?
Yeah, actually, can I say that? So they belong to the Jamindar family, and they have a lot of
Okay.
Land.
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, but even things like pork, do you also bring that from Assam?
Yes, if it is a smoked pork, the pork is bought from the village, and then she smokes it and then sends it across. And there are other vegetables also which are during the other pop-ups, for example the fiddlehead fern
Yeah.
or say elephant apple. Those are also, whenever required, I get it from there. And even the rice which is served during the harvest festival, I'm
Yeah.
sure Purva, you have been a part of the harvest
Yes,
festival once.
I have. I've come for maybe 2 or 3 meals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your suitcase on your flight back
Yeah,
from
so
Assam is probably
you're talking about the
full of-
logistical, complications. How do you manage to get the stuff here?
You'd be amazed to know if I go visiting them or whatever it is, my clothes and my shoes are sent by courier.
And the ingredients come back with
Ingredients come back with me, and I have been making the airlines rich because I'm always 30 kilos extra.
Wow.
you. Oh my
Okay.
god.
30 kilos extra apart from sending things by your
Courier.
courier.
How often do you go to us? How back to
Once a year.
once a
Okay.
year? Oh,
And there's
okay.
no problem as in sort of getting ingredients from there here. There's not like a issue. They don't stop you saying what is this stuff. And
What is this
Actually-
smelly, fishy stuff?
Yeah, yes. Once I was carrying fish from Guwahati, and the X-ray belt, it was in my nice red color trolley. And then the person looks at me and says, I'm obviously a nice, good trolley bag, and you having a fish kind of structure inside. it's showing in the X-ray. And I said, open it. And he said, open. You're carrying a fish? I just carry clothes. And I sure it's not going to spill. I said, don't worry, I have fried the fish, and it's a big fish. It's like one.
Wow.
12
The
inches
length of
long.
your arm.
Yeah.
Great. So you always have stories when you come back.
but then what did he
flight
do after
stories.
that? Did he open it? Did he let you go?
No,
Did
of course he understood as okay, fine. She's from here, so I said, see, I miss home. So yeah, we understand. We have to carry all this things. So,
You have to carry your giant fish to Bombay.
On this topic, you also cook a lot of you do goose in the winter,
Yes.
and you've done pigeon recently. Then
Yes.
you bring back silkworms. Then you served ants. Now,
Yes.
a lot of this becomes the talking point of the food you have been serving. Do you think that if you take away any of this, there would still be an interest in the cuisine, or is it still sustainable without these? I'm sure these are staples for y'all, but for us, it's okay, great. That term exotic comes in into the meal, into the picture. So yeah, just maybe tell me a little bit about that. I'm guessing you're also flying down the goose, right?
so yes. I would still see it as no. Even if we take away this,
Yeah.
there's a very huge world of things yet to be explored, even in vegetarian vegetables that, for example, a fiddlehead fern that we were saying,
Right.
and a lot of other things. I would say that even if you take away both,
Yeah.
you still will have that, people would still love the cuisine even if you do not eat
Okay.
the rest of the other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's quite there are some flavors which are quite strong, like the black sesame is a strong flavor, and there are some pork curries that you do that have bhoot jolokia, and those are
Yes.
pretty spicy. But a lot of the veg stuff can be quite subtle, right?
Yes. So basically, things that are more flavorful, I would say, are if it is fermented. For example, if the bamboo shoot is smoked and fermented, so you can imagine the
Yeah.
extent of
Right.
flavors.
So do you tend to serve the more flavorful stuff in your meals?
Okay, that's a very good question, because how I see is that I see my patrons as in two different categories here. People who have just got introduced or who want to be exposed to the cuisine. Whereas there is one set of people, I would say, who have graduated. So for them, they say, don't give me plain stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly where the silkworm and then the red ant eggs, they come in, or the pigeon come in. So for them, no regular stuff. So there are a few pop-ups where I know, okay, fine, these guys are going to be interested only these ingredients. Whereas so I try to balance it
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
in that way.
But you don't know who's coming, right? When you sort of organize a pop-up, you sort of put it, you sort of...
Well, now regulars, you must
say
know who your regulars
you
are.
sort
Yeah.
of announce it and the menu.
Regulars is not a problem,
Yeah.
but otherwise everything is explained, and then
Okay.
I just put a punchline saying, come with an open heart, open mind.
And you've been actually in Bombay for a long time.
Yes.
But you started this just about a couple of years ago. Do you think the tastes have evolved to the extent that now, if you'd maybe tried to do this maybe 5 years ago, you would not have got the kind of response that you've had?
I think you have a point there. It's very true. The taste buds have evolved so much,
Yeah.
or you can see, because there are more and more people traveling to the Northeast.
Yeah.
Right.
And when they come back, they would definitely want to, eat or get the flavors, if not the same ones. But I guess, 5 years back, the response may not have been so much as what we see today.
But then what sort of prompted you to start these? I mean, what made you decide that, okay, let me just give this a shot?
Basically, because of the, very, very low awareness, because people used to ask me if we have only momos or...
Oh, okay.
You started with pickles, right?
no, I started off with my first pop-up only.
Okay.
And then when people started asking in
Then
the
you
pop-ups,
started.
why don't you start, retailing the pickles? I said, let me give it a shot.
Okay.
Have you ever considered setting up a kitchen, like a restaurant? Is that part of your plan in the future, or do you think that
I would love to. That's definitely kind of a distant dream, but I don't know about, considering the property prices here in Bombay. Plus, until and unless more and more people are, exposed to this cuisine, how many walk-ins would you get on a day? And the moment you have a restaurant, you still have to run the business, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And provided people come in, people do not come in, you still have to pay the same amount of rent.
Yeah.
I guess people would need some more of exposure.
Okay.
And then once we have a good clientele build up, we
Yeah.
can take that plunge.
Right. Okay. I'm quite intrigued by these red ant eggs. Is this something that you cook often?
Well, I've had them. They were
Yeah.
pretty delicious. I could eat that quite easily compared to the
Silkworm?
The silkworm.
Ah,
I
okay.
ate the silkworm, but the texture is what
Yeah,
is the
yes,
tricky
yes.
part.
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
it tasted a bit like a cross between paneer and like shrimp or something.
Yeah.
Like an odd combination, but that's what it tasted like to me.
Okay.
So red ant eggs, the window of red ant eggs is only 15 days in a year, which is like the end of March to probably the first week of April,
Right.
or end of March to the second week of April.
Right.
They are wild. You can't, because you can't rear them. Once you get
So
it,
right now, this is the
this
season.
is the season. Yeah, this is the season, because and during Bihu back home in Assam, in our family, we need to have this. And in our tribe, there is one dish on the main Bihu day or the other Bihu day. We have to have one dish made of 101 veggies, if I'm not wrong. 101. So
Wow.
it's actually tough to get 101 or
Yeah.
107 vegetables.
Right.
So there is a jugaad. You have red ants. It compensates. Why?
Because it
Because
has
it
eaten all
has
that.
It has eaten everything.
Yeah.
This is
That's amazing. So red ants are obviously not on the menu at Bombay Canteen.
No.
Sadly.
But it's a good way to, I guess, like you said, to sort of expand the exposure. I suppose this is something that is one step closer to that. So yeah. It was great having you on the show, Gitika. We'll probably see you at the Bombay Canteen or one of your pop-ups for your meals. And thanks for coming.
Thank you so
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
So that's it for this episode, and we'll be back next week. For more on what's happening in the city, read thedailypow.com. Also subscribe to our newsletter on the website. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're The Daily Pow. And you can find this podcast on the Indus Vox Media SoundCloud page, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
The podcast is an IVM production, and if you enjoy listening to our show, check out the Rediscovery podcast, where Ambika and Hoshna look back at their journey across India.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी,
बोलिए मैडम।
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर जकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम। आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे।